Stand clear of the doors, please.
This is A Voice Found. It's Friday, July 11th, 2008. Today's commentary, the rotting, bloated, hollow carcass of today's republicanism. In a Wednesday interview with the Washington Times, former Senator and current McCain campaign economic advisor Phil Gramm offered the following commentary on the state of the economy. Quote, "You've heard of mental depression? This is mental recession," he told a reporter. "We have sort of become a nation of whiners. You just hear this constant whining, complaining about a loss of competitiveness. America in decline." Unquote. I have often heard conservative pundits refer to Barack Obama and other Democrats as elitist, and sometimes arrogant. I am struck today how elitist and arrogant it is for them to make that claim. I am further struck by how deeply the Republican Party has fallen into despair and disrepair. This is the Republican Party of the arrogant Newt Gingrich, who now sits in interviews with his all-knowing grin, forgetting it was he that is the source of this state of the party, while hoping that history will forget he squandered the opportunity of a generation and was drummed out of the third highest office in the land because the size of his intellect was only exceeded by the size of his ego. It is the arrogance of the straight-shooting Dick Cheney, who, when heading a vice presidential selection committee, concluded he was the best choice, and later, who, when told the American people did not believe in the righteousness of the Iraq War, responded by asking, "So?" It is the arrogance of Karl Rove, too blind to see that he architected the worst presidency in the history of the United States, and that gives him the right to ignore Congress and the law of the land. It is the arrogance of John McCain campaigning as a straight-shooting maverick when he knows that he is neither, and reminding some of us other Vietnam veterans that we raised families and put kids through college without ever having once mentioned that we had served, and had we expected nothing in return. It is the arrogance of the Hannitys and the Coulters and the Ingrams who believe anything said often enough and loud enough and righteously enough and patriotically enough will be accepted by the people. Finally, and ultimately, it is the arrogance of the epitome of elitism, the decider himself, George W. Bush, who sees himself above the law and above the Constitution, and who after 9/11 could have become the greatest president in history, but instead chose to serve himself and people like him instead of serving this nation and people like me. I see the rotting, stinking, bloated, and hollow carcass of the Republican Party of the arrogant, the party of George Bush and Dick Cheney and Karl Rove and Newt Gingrich and Phil Gramm and John McCain. I hope it soon dies. I promise to do everything in my power to help it to its end. Long live the principles of conservatism of the party of Abraham Lincoln and Ronald Reagan. As a staunch liberal, I look forward to the resurgence of a revived, renewed, respected, and respectful Republican Party. From the Glass Enclosed Command Center just west of Paris, this is A Voice Found. Thank you, and good day.